All right, perfect there. Alex, just kind of reset things here that those that have been watching, those that came in late, we're pleased to have this gentleman as promoting our museum from afar over there in Europe, up there. Alex, I have a beautiful picture of you here um, on the boat that brought back one of your ESA astronauts. I think that was four. Yeah, you got four fingers there.
Crew
So
four, yes.
so that'd have been Ferretti, like been
Yes,
Christopher
that was
Ferretti.
Samantha Cristoforetti.
So tell us a little bit about what you get to do. Well, first let's back up here. How did you get hooked on space? Where did you grow up in Germany, if you did there? And how did you get working for what I'm sure a lot of people would comment is a dream job working at ESA?
Yeah, so I was born in Germany, grew up there in the near Düsseldorf. That's about the center of the country, all the way to the west. So it's maybe half an hour to the Dutch border. Belgium is not that far either. That's where I grew up. I was always interested in space. I watched all the science fiction and all the books I could get my hands on. And then eventually I studied aerospace engineering. I did that at the University of Applied Sciences in Aachen, that's also in Germany. And then once I graduated, I had a few smaller stops until I found my calling, so to speak. So 15 years ago, I started working in ISS operations. I worked for 10 years at the Belgium control center for the European payloads. And I'm working for a Belgian company, Space Application Services. And after 10 years there, they sent me to Germany to the European Astronaut Center. And that's the picture in the background where I now work as EuroCom, as Mark mentioned. That's more or less the equivalent of the American CATCOM. So we get to talk to the crew when they use European systems and experiments. And it doesn't matter if it's European crew or right now there's no European on board the ISS, but European experiments, of course, continue as is maintenance of our systems. So then we get to interact with the mostly Americans. We do have one experiment that's jointly with the Russians. So actually this week I talked to the commander of the space station, Oleg, who I don't know if you've heard, recently he celebrated his 1000th day in space and counting. That's the current record.
A couple hundred days, by the way.
Yeah,
We've been following that,
so this
Alex.
is not in one stay. I think it's his fifth flight.
Yeah, it's fifth flight, five
Yeah,
all of the ISS, and he'll be back down in about 60 days in September. So yeah, he's the most experienced human space was. You got to talk to him, huh? Great.
yeah, I got to talk to him briefly, and what I find fascinating, those 1,000 days, or once he's back, I think it's 1,110. I don't know why they not
That
added the extra day there to make it a fun number. This is about the trip uh, back and forth to Mars that we're talking about. So just to put that into context, if we want to explore space and go to Mars, that's about 1,000 days.
yeah, uh, two round trip,
Yes.
and for a whole mission. Yeah, yeah, he's quite a. Uh, this is I don't know how many times he's been the commander up there, but do you? I'm sure he's been more than once.
Probably.
But we've got the
I
Starliner up there. Is there any, not gossip, but kind of human interest things you can tell us about we've got three Chinese orbiting in their space station and nine on the International Space Station.
Mhm.
What's our new crew up there with Suni Williams and Butch Wilmer? I'm kind of happy their stay's going to be extended a little longer because they're experienced up there.
Yeah.
Butch's last mission was the shuttle before the cupola was put up, and they
Oh,
both,
wow.
yeah, they both waited over 12 years
Yeah.
to fly again, and here they are, looking at this. So, any kind of human interest things you can share with us about what's going on at the International Space Station that I saw
Uh,
go overhead the other night, in fact.
yeah. I was in console yesterday. Was it yesterday? So I haven't had much time on console since Starliner is there, but I got to talk to Suni briefly the other day this week. Just ask her to readjust the camera for us that was monitoring an experiment that was controlled from the ground. Otherwise, they're busy checking out Starliner, so usually we don't get to interact with them. So that was just asking for an available crew member, and happened to be Sunni.
Well, there you
Um,
go. The behind the scenes of what you do. There's a lot to your job that I'm sure. What are some of the background things you do on a daily basis, Alex?
yeah, we do well from to, the mundane to like timeline reviews. I mean, as here you can actually see, here's a timeline of the ISS. As you can see, it's very planned. Um, and this doesn't happen by itself. Those plans are made months and weeks in advance. And then about 2 weeks out, we start to review those to make sure the astronauts get the best products, everything works, the links work, and they have what they need to do their job. And that's a daily task that we have, that we review the plan for the following days. Um, and then the main job is really to stay aware of what's happening. That's what we have the screens here for. So we have a couple of outside and inside views of the space station. And depending on the experiment, we may get an over-shoulder view of the experiments that the crew is performing. And then we have those specialists watching this and keeping us aware if I don't know. I, for example, I keep an eye out if things are flying away. So of course, it's zero gravity, so things tend to float, and you don't want to lose your tool. So, and if the astronaut is busy doing something and hears something floats away, then I make a quick call and say like, "Hey, look over your left shoulder." And then, of course, we see how the experiment is ongoing, and there may be certain set points where the crew is calling down, giving us some information that we're asking for. Likewise, they call down for certain steps. For example, we want to make sure that they check with us before they touch anything that may have electricity. So we switch off the electricity from ground before they put their fingers in there. So there's a go step in the procedure that just to make sure it's like, hey, am I okay to continue here? Just making sure the crew is happy and safe.
Safety, safety, safety. Right. That's
Yeah.
what I've learned hanging around our space museum. Every meeting at NASA starts off with a safety tip or something like that, and that's great. Where else are you going to hear this, folks, except on Stay Curious from the American Space Museum here with our good friend Alex Karl. He's been in here many times. I showed a picture of him at our console. I was showing some pictures of your ESA headquarters in the background there, but wanted to give a shout out to Dave Stengy. He said that he has relatives in Hagen, and he was in Wippertal last fall.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Did I say
Yeah,
that
they
right?
have the
Wippertal?
Wuppertal.
Okay, Wuppertal.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
and
not too far from my place. It's about 45
well,
minutes away.
knowing Dave Stangy, they probably had beer there, huh? You think?
It's very likely.
Most likely, sure, there.
I hope, yeah.
Yeah. Alex, you look back at some of the history, like the D1 and 2 missions of the shuttle when you were just a babe, and kind of, wax nostalgic over what Germany's done in space, actually.
Yeah. I mean, Germany, yeah, first one was the D1 mission. The first German astronaut flew in 1978 with the Intercosmos program with the Soviets back then. That
Uh-huh.
was Sigmund Jähn from Eastern Germany back then. He's our first German in space. I got to talk. I got to see him live a couple of years ago. He gave a lecture at my old university, and I passed by, and that was really a treat. And I got to take a picture with him afterwards. So that was good. Fortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago,
Hmm.
and but he's the first German in space. So and
What
then
I'm thinking of the shuttle Germans that flew.
yeah, the first one was Ulf Merbold. I think it was recently was the 40th anniversary of his flight. I
Okay.
think last year. So that was when we started. I think it was actually the first mission with foreigners or non NASA folks
Yeah.
on the shuttle. I think it was SDS. Was it 9?
Yeah.
Remember? Or 7
Yeah,
or
yeah.
9?
9 was John Young's last flight. I can certainly consult the scroll on that. But that's
Yeah,
what
he
that's
flew with John Young. I heard an interview with him where he
yeah,
mentioned
Merbold. Yeah, yeah,
he
Merbold.
had to
And
convince John Young of his skills.
oh, did he really? Well,
Yeah, and then they became friends. So
uh, well,
yeah,
he's a real legend in your country. I know he's probably in his late 80s, uh, or somewhere around there. But yeah, that was
somewhere there.
Lichtenberg also, uh, and that was the sixth flight of Columbia there, like you said. So, saying good afternoon to Gary Gerald. He is our Vidalia onion peanut farmer in Georgia there. And Tom Usiak says hello to everyone today. And Carlton Bailey is out there at his Cape Canaveral Groves animal compound where they got a lot of water out there. So, and he's got a big pond there that's filling up. So that's good for Carlton, our rocket photographer. You may have met CB. He's one of the photographers that have photographed over, I think, 600 missions out there at the Space Center. So we're enjoying this conversation with Alex Karl. Thank you, Marty Winkle and Logan Cope, our intern, for efforting our audio problem there. Thanks to Trekkie Techie Jessica Galloway. It was the first time we've had to call her in about 6 weeks, but she was right there and helped Marty fix the problem. And that's we're kind of doing our own little test mission again on these Google Meets. We were doing it on Zoom, going to Meets. Seems to be working fine out there. Everybody enjoying it. Alex cannot see. You can't see me, right?
I can see you.
Oh, can you see the images putting up?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. I didn't think you see that.
If you tell me which one, then I
Well,
have to
yeah.
clearly understand.
Well, I was showing the. Let's end your ESA conversation. There you are at our console there, which was cool when I first met you. I'm showing the ESA headquarters building there.
Yeah,
Uh,
just to clarify, this is not our headquarter building. The headquarters is located in Paris, and the building here is my workplace. That's in Cologne. That's the European Astronaut Center. So
okay.
ESA has like about 10, 12 different locations.
As they should. They're a consortium of how many
Oh, it's
countries
like
now?
NASA, right? They have centers all over.
Yeah.
And
Here's the inside of the training facility with the replicas and simulators in there.
yeah,
Looks very clean. Probably ever changing with equipment, is it? Or
it's yeah, from time to time they put in new models.
there's your headquarters where you're at, I think, again with the flags out
Yeah,
front and a
that's from
uh,
the front view from the street.
pretty building. And then this is a night view overhead of a facility. I think you
Yeah,
told
this
me
is
that's where
actually
the
the building. This is the building next door. There's the Envy Hub. This is more. This is owned by the DLR, the German Aerospace Center, and they do. When our astronauts return from space, they get to spend the first couple of days and weeks in there for tests and that sort of things. It's a medical research facility. They do sleep studies in there and all kinds of interesting activities.
okay.
And we do have a new building. For next time, Mark, we need to get you a picture. It's the Luna facility. It's
Oh,
not opened yet, but the building itself it's finished, and it's basically a sandbox with lunar regolith, so we can test lunar activities. We also, I mean, Artemis, NASA's going back to the moon. ESA is coming along. Um, there's a European service module attached to Orion, so this is built in Europe. And we hope to send astronauts also to Gateway and then eventually on the moon. And of course, we want to do science there. So we have this brand new facility to test equipment, procedures, and things like that. So I'm looking forward when this is in operation. I haven't been in there yet, but I'm really looking forward to see how the lunar regolith stand pit looks like.
well, you can send us pictures any time of that and that are okay for the public to see, of course. You know that. We'd never want to get you in trouble by sharing something that you couldn't. Nick Sedler is watching. He says, another fun show. Cool to learn more about ESA. And something, Nick, that I learned about ESA from my good friend Alex Karl here is I quit saying ESA. Remember that, Alex? I kept saying ESA, and he said to me, "What?" He
Yes.
said, "He goes, Mark,
And
it's like NASA. It's ESA."
yes. And Mark, you're not the only one. So this seems to be a common misunderstanding, but really the
Well,
analogy is it's NASA, it's not NASA, right? So
yeah,
it's the same as ESA.
yeah. Well, I knew we had bonded as friends then. Okay, when you told me that. By the way, if some people think that we're in a reverse universe over here, we are. Look, Marty, what I'm showing on me. There's my rocket hobo patch, and I gave you one of these. Uh,
Yeah,
we're
it's right here.
Yeah, oh well, cool, buddy. In Germany, there, our good friend Ozzy Osbourne, who passed away. But people may notice, wait a minute, that Florida looks a little weird. Yeah, well, flipped around left to right here for some reason, but we don't care. But oh, that's cool that you have that. You've given me those cool patches of the missions. The Hugin, Hugin was the last one. The
Again was Crew 7. Yes, that
Yeah,
was the
Crew
last one.
7 up there. Each of the ESA missions, they're named after a Nordic god or something like that, right?
Well,
And
it depends on the crew member gets to choose, and of course our Danish and Swedish astronauts they choose Northern mythology as their.
yeah, and Minerva was a
Yeah.
beautiful one
Mhm.
of Cristoforetti there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm actually going to get a new jacket, and I want to sew all those on there so I can look cool on my stargazing bits that we do here. But and of course, I send you home with a good deal of swag every time. So thank you for telling people about our museum there. I know because I know you do. I want to get into. I want to mention the last time you were here, Carl, Alex, kind of had he had an abbreviated. Uh, that was back in January because
Yeah, we got interrupted.
yes, we had Dr. Cyan Proctor, the St. Jude's astronaut, crashed our party here. And coincidentally, one of the ladies from National Space Society was here today, Jennifer Muntz, who was there with us at that. But that was very gracious of you to let me put the Cyan on. And boy, she was something else, wasn't she?
Yeah, that was a treat. That was a treat. No, it's
Yeah, it was fun. That's a good one to go back, folks. Just go on YouTube and Google Alex Karl, and it'll pop up with a K Karl, and it'll pop up that he was on January, and yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. A lot of group of people there. Met some people there. So, well, let's get on here and talk a little bit about uh, Asteroid Day. Alex, you give us the public relations. Uh, Angle for why did this
yep.
happen 9 years ago? There's a declaration I'm going to talk about.
Hmm.
So, and
Yes.
how are you involved? First, what's your involvement in Asteroid Day?
What's so I don't have any official role. Well, I care about Earth. I don't want us to end like the dinosaurs and get hit by an asteroid. So about 15 years ago, I got involved. Actually, Rusty Schweikert was one of the people who got me started, and I um, I did a couple of things. So I started with the Space Generation Advisory Council. That's a youth organization globally for students and young professionals between 18 and 35 years old. And I was the chair of that organization for a couple of years. And among other things, I also founded the NEO project group. So we were looking at what can we students and professionals do to raise awareness. We had some competitions. We named an asteroid, all kinds of fun things. As you might imagine, I got too old, so and they
Yeah.
kicked me out. So now I'm one of the co-chairs of the Planetary Defense Conference that's taking place every 2 years and brings the whole planetary defense community together. And next time is happening in May of 2025 in Stellenbosch, South Africa. I
Mm,
was just there a couple of weeks ago for a site visit, so I got a sneak preview of the venue and talked to some of the people there, and we're really looking forward to having this there because it's a global problem. So we need a global solution, and we want to get also more of the African um, nations involved. And this. I'm sure we'll talk about this in the
Yeah,
future
next
future
May,
episode.
we will promote that at our April Shuttle Fest. That's something that we could
Yeah,
help you distribute some
because it,
materials on that here
it
for
it
that.
will be a hybrid conference, so it will be possible to follow online if you can't make the trip to South Africa. So that could be interesting. So let's talk about that in the future, Mark.
Okay. Yeah, Marty,
Um,
you want to go to South Africa, Marty?
Yeah, who's paying?
Yeah, who's paying? The museum's paying, of course, you know. No, how was that experience, Alex? You ever been down there
um,
before?
I've been down there before. The IEC was there in 2011, so I
Mhm.
went there for that. I went for safari and checked out some two meteor craters actually.
Ooh,
Um, they have a big one. I think the back in the day it was still the biggest. It was like it's called the Vredefort Dome. It's about 300 kilometers. It's an impact basin,
wow.
2 billion years old. But you
He,
still see some leftovers. So the geologists have really they're excited
hun-
about that. You see
that's
a
a
lot of
big one, 180
things.
miles in our.
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
And then there was another one, a smaller one, the Swain crater, I believe it's called. It's about the same size as Meteor Crater, about a mile. But this one was like it was filled by a lake and was surrounded by like grass and trees. It looked beautiful, but there were so many mosquitoes that it was like a short visit. Let's put it this way. Um, so there, yeah, South Africa, it's beautiful, really. So and yeah, that was great meeting people in person from the organizing team, and looking forward to the conference next year. But talking about Asteroid Day, so Asteroid Day, as you mentioned, 30th of June 1908, an object exploded over Tunguska in Siberia and flattened a vast area of forest. So luckily, nobody, as far as we know, got injured, but there were some eyewitnesses hundreds of miles away saying like, "Wow, there was fire in the sky." So we believe it was an airburst, so something that did not hit the ground but exploded above ground. And so it was announced, I think in 2014. Yeah, that makes it about 9 years then. Well, 10 years, but 9 asteroid days later. Was announced by the UN as an official day, and that is to raise awareness about asteroids, the threat, of course, but also the opportunities. They're a great tool of science. We can learn a great deal about the formation of the solar system. Some people think more to the future, like, hey, there might be some minerals that could be interesting to mine and either use in space or on Earth. And yeah, it's a great opportunity for outreach and education, and that's really what's happening with Asteroid Day, especially the event in Luxembourg. Luxembourg, the reason is the Asteroid Foundation is headquartered there, and they're kind of let's call it the umbrella organization. They put if you go to the website, you find some kits for organizers. So if you want to organize an event, they have a whole package of logos you can use and suggestions and how you set up an event and what you can do. And in that sense, it's a little bit like a World Space Week event or like a Yuri's Night that everybody can it's a grassroots event. Everybody can host one. Can be at a university, at a school, local museum, a library, or you just meet with a friend for a moon burger, for
right.
example, and say like we're having an asteroid day.
Yeah, great.
Um,
It smacks of me like Yuri's Night and
yeah,
those type of things that we can participate around the world. And you're going to have a 10th anniversary next year. We'll certainly try to help you
yeah.
promote that. Alex, we've got Mayor Kalaji from Luxembourg, friend of
Okay.
yours, Mayor Meher
Oh,
Kalagr.
Maher. Yes.
Uh,
Hey, Maher.
Mayor, yeah, Mayor
I
says
said,
hello from Luxembourg. Thank you, Alex, for promoting the Asteroid Festival in Luxembourg. We're delighted and proud that you're taking part again this year. Maybe you can bring Mark with you next time. That sounds like a good deal. That sounds like a
yes.
good deal to me there.
I can't believe
So
it
there's
wasn't
there's Oh yeah, what, Marty?
You can't bring you without me.
Yeah, I can't bring. Yeah, I have to bring Marty with me. Mark and Marty there. Well, nice for you to be watching, Mayor, our Stay Curious program here. And when you go to YouTube, you'll see we have over 600 episodes. We've done over 1,070 episodes born out of the pandemic. So our humble nonprofit could still reach out to people. Everyone's forgot about 4 years ago and quarantined and eating cereal for the third day in a row because you couldn't get out to the grocery store and stuff like that. But no, it means a lot that we pick up new people around the world. We've got Robert Laws up in Dundee, Scotland, enjoying his cocktail. And how's your Friday morning brekkie there? Our friend in Pomona, Australia, Mr. Watson is down there, and Scott Polk is another one from New Zealand that watches us. So we got a lot of people around the world. We've got a woman in Romania that's been watching us, Maria. So tell people that you'll never get shows like this anywhere else. And we got John the Beagle Dad. He says, hello, guys, from Fort Myers, Florida, 4 hours from Kennedy. And you certainly are, and we hope that you're staying dry. They really got hit hard with some flooding there the last few days. So, John the Beagle Dad, thank you for chiming in on Stay Curious today. Alex, what a great way you're driving this thing. I'm going to show a picture. Oh, well, first I wanted to say that the astronauts were going to be Mark Polanski, who's one of NASA's commanders, Julie Payette, a Canadian astronaut, had 2 beautiful missions, and she's been coming out to Space Center, Alex, and she's just delightful. She's so engaging with the everyone out there, and I know she will be. You guys will love her having out there. And then you've got a Romanian cosmonaut, Dimitri. I won't try to attempt to say any of the rest of his
Doran
name.
Fornario. He's a standard guest. He's very very active in planetary defense as well. He's also active with the Association of Space Explorers and was involved with their efforts for getting the topic to the UN, actually.
Okay. And this is serious business. Here's a big fun picture of the. I was looking for you in this picture, Alex. I didn't see it, but there's a big crowd of people celebrating last year's asteroid day. You got in the middle there is the white-haired Rusty Schweikert, and I see guitarist there's beside him there, Brian. But these are the movers and shakers of this event, I gather. And this is off their website, cool website. But I want to show you some of the people that were involved here. Alex, tell us about the doctrine that people are signing around the world.
Yeah, well, it's called a declaration. It's the 100X declaration. So when this started in 2014, the asteroid population that was known was I think about 10,000, but it was estimated to be 1 million. So of course, the number one goal in planetary defense is to find them before they find us.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to increase the rate of detection. You may know NASA's building the NEO Surveyor spacecraft. There's also some ground system coming online very soon in Chile with the Vera C. Rubins telescope, formerly known as LSST. And that should really increase the rate of detection of the objects. And the 100 times declaration came from, hey, if we want to find all those objects we don't know yet, we need to increase our detection capability 100-fold. And this is where this declaration came from. And then all kinds of people that you see here on the screen signed them. There are a lot of astronauts on there, a lot of scientists that are active in the field. There are musicians, there are actors.
Yeah.
So you have all kinds. If you scroll long enough, you see a picture of myself as well.
Jack Black, there's Brian May on the bottom, of course, Rusty, and you got Austin Kutcher, Steve Smith. We just saw Steve Smith, Marty, out to Space Center. Whoopi Goldberg. You all read the names there. Bill Nye, the science guy, and before they died, Stephen Hawking and Caroline Shoemaker. Caroline Shoemaker is famous in astronomy. Her husband and David Shoemaker discovered the famous comet that later crashed into Jupiter back in 1994, I believe. Mayak
And
Malek there, she's a Big Bang Theory actress. So, yeah, you'll be surprised. You'll see your favorite people and astronauts on there, like Nicole Stott. Uh, uh, you've got Hoot Gibson there. Uh, Yep, yeah, up there's Eileen Collins, of course, up there. So, it's a serious thing here. As I'm showing a picture of the International Space Station that we need to do. And Alex, planetary defense is very real. And explain briefly how we conducted a test, I think about 3, 4 years ago, to deflect a killer asteroid.
yeah, well, to be fair, this was not a killer asteroid. This was a test.
Yeah.
If we want to deflect the real thing, then it would not have been a test. Yeah, you're referring to the DART mission that was back in September of 2022, so almost 2 years ago. That was conducted by NASA. So we had an asteroid in the main belt, so it was not coming close to Earth, called Didymos, and it had a little moon, so asteroid moonlet, and that was called Dimorphos. And Dimorphos has about the same size as the asteroids we're worried about most. So, of course, we're worried about the big ones because they make the most damage, but there are also not so many of them out there, and they're rare. But those are, for example, the dinosaur killers, right? Or, well, planet killers, because I think if humans would be around, we would have been gone too. But that was about 6 miles or 10 kilometers in diameter, and everything over a kilometer, that's about, I'm not sure,
6/10 of a
0.6,
mile.
yeah, half a mile, is catastrophic for the whole planet. But again, we found most of them. There are a handful missing we haven't found yet, but they're super rare. So nobody's losing sleep about them. Of course, we want to know about them. But what is more likely to happen is the impact of a small asteroid. And we're talking usually like an object that can, of course, we saw Chelyabinsk that was about 20 meters. We saw, yes.
Chelyabinsk, just tell everyone, was a city in Russia that a meteor grazed, and there's millions of dollars of windows busted out, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and about more than 1,000 people got injured because they saw the fireball and ran to the window, and then the shock wave burst because it exploded high in the sky. So it didn't do any damage by the object itself, but because all the energy was released when it broke up in the atmosphere, the shock wave burst a lot of windows, and it damaged some buildings, and that injured like over 1,000 people. Yeah. So that's one lesson learned. If you ever see a fireball in the sky, go away from the windows.
Yeah.
And that was back in 2013, and that object was only 18 meters in diameter.
Okay, so that's 12 feet.
60 feet. No, 60 feet, I think.
No, 60 feet. 18 meters. Feet. Oh, yeah, right. Times 3. Yeah, about 60 feet. Exactly. There you go.
And the one in Tunguska was about, they estimate 40, 50 meters, which is the same size as the impactor of a meteor crater in Flagstaff.
Okay.
So they're small objects, but they make big holes, right? So, but the objects, we think it's about 140 meters. Those are the ones we want to find, and there's still a lot of work ahead of us. That's why I'm really looking forward to the NEO surveyor mission from NASA and all the ground telescopes coming online, so that we really find a lot more of those. And this moonlet had roughly the same size, about 140 meters. So so they used it as a test. So they smacked the DART spacecraft right into it. It's called a kinetic impactor. And as the name suggests, you want to transfer the kinetic energy with an impact. And either, depending on the orbital mechanics, you either slow down the asteroid a little bit when you hit head on, or if you come from behind, you push it a little bit. Because the goal in asteroid deflection is just to move the asteroid, either speed it up or slow it down, so it is no longer in the future at the same location as the Earth will be. We don't want it to hit, so we want it to go either a little bit earlier or a little bit later, and everybody's fine. So this technique works great on paper, but we never tried it out for real. So this was really exciting then to see the test. One big unknown was, what is the asteroid made of? Because we know they're metal asteroids, they're stony, some are rubble piles. So that was a big question among scientists, that they were not sure what is, they call it beta, how much debris will be ejected. The more you get ejected, the more energy is transferred. So that was a big question. And so the scientists were predicting from NASA that so the orbital so it took about 12 hours for the asteroid to go around the main asteroid.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought if they can change that by about, I think, 90 seconds, that would be a success. It turns out they changed it by 33 minutes.
Wow.
So it worked better than expected. What the Europeans now are waiting for, this October, we are launching the Hera spacecraft to go to the same asteroid. And then we're going to study the impact crater and all the changes in detail.
That's
So that will
fabulous. I
arrive
haven't
in
heard about that. Hera, do you say? H-A-R?
Hera, yes.
H-A-R-R-A?
H-E-R-A.
H-E-R-A. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Hera.
We're talking about the 2 years ago, the DART, D-A-R-T, Defense Asteroid.
Double asteroid deflection test.
There you go. Yeah, double asteroid reflection test.
No, redirection. Sorry.
Yeah, redirection test. So, oh, these acronyms on there.
Yeah.
Well, now you know that Alex knows his stuff about the asteroids there, and hope that you dive into it a little bit and do some research. Go to the website there for the Asteroid Day. There's all kinds of links to take you there, videos and so forth.
Yeah, and Mark, if I can add one more thing, this is one thing I really like about the field of planetary defense. It is very broad because it's not just observations, we want to find them, or scientists to study them. We have engineers who figure out missions to deflect them, but also in case we miss one, we need disaster managers. So people who usually deal with earthquakes, hurricanes, or flooding, that sort of stuff.
Oh.
They need to figure out what you're going to do. They need to be involved. Like FEMA often comes to our conferences, representative from FEMA.
Yeah.
We have, of course, education and outreach. We have a whole bunch of lawyers, because if the object is too big and we discover it too late, we might have, the only option we might have is a nuclear explosive device. And according to the Outer Space Treaty, you cannot put weapons of mass destruction in space.
Uh-huh.
So then the lawyers come in and say, like, oh, here, this is a problem legally, and here is maybe ways to get around it. So they're very interesting legal questions that may be interesting for some of the viewers. One thing I want to point out still is, yes, while, as I mentioned earlier, we want to find the asteroids, but we also want to find them early, because when we find them early, and that fascinates me every time, is an asteroid impact is the only natural disaster we can not only predict, but prevent, given enough time. If you know a hurricane is coming, there's nothing you can do about it. You may be able to predict it, right? But then you got to leave. There's nothing you can do. With an asteroid, if an asteroid's coming towards Earth and you have enough time, and with enough time, I mean about 20, 30 years, you can send a mission, you can move that thing, and this much in advance, just a little bit of delta V, and we'll miss the Earth. So I find it fascinating that we can actually prevent a natural disaster. How cool is that?
Very cool. And it's cool to be talking to Alex Karl in Germany. Alex, what time is it there?
We have almost 11 p.m.
Well, thank you for staying up. I gather you're a night owl, though, like me. Or you're used to all kinds of odd hours with your job at ESA? Or you,
Sometimes at the this one is more stable than the one I had before. There we had night shifts and weekends.
mhm.
So luckily, the astronauts need to sleep as well.
Yeah.
Experiments don't.
Well, we're winding down our conversation with Alex. We've had a great time talking to you. What great information our Stay Curious watchers are getting from you. We've got from Mayor again, HERA, HERA Technology and Planning will take center stage at the Luxembourg event. So I will be
Yes,
watching that, and I'll be broadcasting it on our Facebook page where you can watch it
Mark.
virtually. Yes.
Mark, just to mention, so Mar is actually one of the organizers there. He actually works for the Asteroid Day Foundation. He is on the board of directors, so uh, he's the right person to talk to for Asteroid Day
Hey,
in
thank you.
Luxembourg.
Well, he's the right
So
connection for us here at our humble museum in downtown Titusville, Florida. Maybe America could be part of the broadcast when we're going to bring you back on Friday, June 29th. Okay. And
I still need to look at the detailed program because I
yeah,
know they have some things planned in the evening. So I hope it works out time wise. But
well, I'm
then
sure
yeah,
there's
I'll be
probably a
waiting.
Luxembourg distillery or something that's in the plans there. But yeah, maybe we can record it even and show it later. But if not, we
Yeah,
will follow up. We're not going to knock our brains out to interrupt your schedule there. But if not, we'll follow up and find out about it. But I'm going to be taking you there on our Facebook page and talking about it on Stay Curious. Mayor, you can better believe we're going to be promoting this because I've been an amateur astronomer since I was an 8-year-old boy. Uh, I've always kind of it'll never happen, but I always thought it'd be cool to have an asteroid named after you, you know, and you got to get that approved by uh, what's the organization?
I
Yeah, the Astronomical Union on there. You don't have one named after you, do you?
no, I'm still waiting.
All right.
But
Got plenty of meteorites in my collection, and I've got actually my keychain has a meteorite fob attached to it there that came from some wonderful dig of meteorites. So, but we wanted to just let everybody know that we're going to stay in touch and talk about this topic, and we hope that you enjoyed talking to Alex. There's some I don't see any other questions here. Cliff Watson, there he is. Good morning and Friday brekkie to you there in Pomona, Australia. Cliff was here, Alex, for the total eclipse of the sun 2 months ago.
oh
April
right,
8th.
yes.
And so you can see Cliff Watson on some of our shows here, one of our big promoters there, and a great guy. And just another one of our Stay Curious followers that not only enjoy the programs, but they financially contribute to our nonprofit. And we need it to keep things going like this. So, Alex, something that I'm going to put up a picture of the International Space Station here, kind of your off Earth workplace. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, what final thoughts do you have for our Stay Curious audience?
Uh, yeah, I think Asteroid Day.
Okay.
It's a great opportunity to learn more about asteroids and how you can get involved if you're interested. I find it a very fascinating topic, um, and I hope so do you. So check it out, asteroidday.org. Maybe there's an event near you. If there's none, consider hosting one.
You got time
And
to do that. Yep.
yeah, still.
I'm gonna talk to a couple other entities around here to do that. So great, awesome time, man. That was great. Thank you for everybody's patience and getting this worked out. We're gonna do this more frequently so that we can get it be a natural thing. I miss I want to get talk to Alex, at least every 3 4 months on there because you always got something interesting to talk about, and this is content that no one else is doing on YouTube. So, Alex, wonderful, great show, my friend. Hope that you get a good night's sleep, and yeah, let's see, you're an hour away from Friday yourself there, so
Yeah, that's true.
ding ding
but,
dong
but
there.
more hours from Bracky than
There you go, buddy. Well,
it's very
thank
important.
you very, very much. All right. And
Thank you for having me again, Mark.
oh,
It's always a pleasure.
it certainly is always great to see you on the Space Coast. I didn't ask you, when is the next ESA astronaut going to space?
The next one that is announced is for UCV 12 in 2026.
Wow, planning that far ahead, of course. So,
Yeah.
uh, well, we will, you'll be taking us along with us there. Hope we're all here in 2026 and so forth, that no asteroid wipes us out. But of course, we would know that by now. You want to go to a great website to see potentially hazardous asteroids, go to spaceweather.com. They have a chart on there every day that shows you the 20,000. That's right, 20,000 asteroids that we're keeping track and counting that could potentially hit the Earth. And any of them, like Alex said, over a football field in size is going to devastate, put a crater like Lake Okeechobee there off my shoulder there. So, Alex, again, thank you for everything, my friend. I'm going to tell everybody we're going to bid you adieu after I thank Marty Winkle and Logan Cope for putting our program here together on a day where I jumped in the building here about 3:15 after a couple meetings that I attend in the community. So we're glad that you all joined us. Alex, can't wait to see you again. We'll stay in touch, my friend. Until tomorrow, TGIF Friday, we're going to talk about the shuttles of the month and current events. I'm Marquette saying I can't wait to see you again to bridge the space between us.